Hey everyone, my name is Bola. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Girl Finance, and I'm also the author of the new book, Choosing to Prosper, Triumphing Over Adversity, Breaking Out of Comfort Zones, and Achieving Your Life and Money Dreams, that comes out this summer 2022. Welcome to Clever Girl Finance TV and to a new episode of Real Women Talk Money. So today I'm joined by two amazing women who are part of Team Clever Girl Finance.
Hello, my name is Carli and I'm the social media creator here at Clever Girl Finance.
Hi, I'm Yazmir. I'm the content creator for Clever Girl Finance.
Yes, and so today we're going to talk about how and why people will always judge you and why it is perfectly fine for them to judge, because sharing your story is so much more important than other people's judgment because of the potential impact, positive impact you can have on the other people who hear your story and learn from it. And it could be a story, an experience, just you sharing, right? And sometimes the judgment comes from friends, coworkers, or even family, which can be very disappointing. But I think we have to learn to embrace the fact that people are always going to judge us, and it's okay. And to provide some context, in my new book, Choosing to Prosper, I talk about overcoming various challenges, including being judged and even shamed for sharing my story, my experiences publicly, and just learning how to grow thick skin. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to prompt you guys with some questions just to, help us and the folks viewing with just us embracing the fact that our stories, no matter how small they are, can be impactful to other people, and that just trumps anybody else's negative opinion about you. Yeah. So, Yazmir, have you ever felt shamed or judged by an experience you've shared or a story you've shared with somebody else?
Oh yes, a lot. Even till today, it just doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop, right? What about you, Carli?
It's true, it really never ends. And it's hard to sometimes not take it personally. So yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, and what I think is important is that we all learn and grow from other people's stories. I think about the women who have inspired me. So if I put my family aside, like my mom and my aunts, but I look at other women out in the world who have inspired me, if I never heard their stories, if I never heard their experiences, if I never even got to observe my mother going through her own experiences, then maybe I would not be where I am today, because I wouldn't have gotten that motivation, that inspiration, because I never saw it happen, right? And a lot of times as human beings, we aspire to what we can relate to. And hearing another woman's story who may come from a similar background or have a similar work experience or have been in a similar relationship or whatever can be the difference between you taking action or not, right? And when you think about all the women that you admire out in the world, for every incredible story, there's that tiny little corner of haters who have so much to say about this person's success. But the fact that they shared their story has inspired us to want to take action and to want to be better. So let's get into some questions about sharing stories and experiences and why it's so important. Feel free to join us, grab your notebook, call a friend, and answer these questions with us. So, is there someone whose story or experience has positively impacted you in terms of achieving your goals today?
Yeah, I would definitely say there's actually a woman that I recently just met. So I found out that she used to work for the agency that I work at now. And not only that, she's now a professor at the university that I'm going to for my master's, which is amazing. But I actually got to meet up with her. And we have very similar stories just in terms of our trajectory of where we were headed in life and overcome a lot of things. And now she has her doctorate and she's progressed in so many ways. And I had a chance to just sit and have lunch with her and chat with her about it. And I was just so inspired because we literally were in the same role at the same agency. And now I look at her and, she's got her doctorate and she's teaching all these amazing courses. And I look at that and I'm like, okay, no, that's the trajectory that I could also go in, if I'm putting my mind to it and my heart is in it. And she overcame so much. And so I think that that's been a huge resource for me too, because she's always made herself available to talk. And now I have a potential internship with her too. So we've been able to kind of align in that way. So it's really cool how our paths kind of crossed like that.
What about you, Yazmir?
I would have to say my professor, Dr. Rebecca Sperling. I have to say her name because she's amazing, and she just she liked me for who I am. And she accepted that, and she saw strengths in me that I didn't necessarily see, or that no one's ever really like seen in me. So that motivated me to sort of educate, be always a learner, because that's part of who she was. She did not only teach, but she learned, and she gave me the importance about learning from others and sharing my story.
So for me, there are so many women whose stories and experiences have impacted me and motivated me to go out and pursue my goals. My mom, obviously, who I talk about all the time, Oprah, I think she's a role model for many people, hearing her story, hearing her background, how she started her career in media, her growth from there. But there are two women who I heard speak in person, and their stories were just incredibly impactful, because not only did they share their stories and their experiences, they shared their struggles and how they overcame them. And the first one was Lisa Price, who is the founder of Carol's Daughter, and she just talked about just building her business from nothing, and even when her business became successful, how she dealt with imposter syndrome, and hiring people who were smarter than her, but feeling like, wow, are these people going to take over? Just how she navigated her self-doubt to build a major success. And the second person I heard speaking in person was Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. And she also talked about her journey, building her business, being intimidated, and just hearing their stories as I was also, and I've also been building my business, was very motivating. It made me feel less isolated, because I saw a woman who looked like me, Lisa Price, and another woman who had built something really incredible, Sarah Blakely, on a stage. And these are women who did not come from backgrounds that were extra special. They didn't come from super wealthy families. They did not have trust funds. They did not have, they were relatable in many different dimensions, whether it was their career, their childhood upbringing. There was something that I could relate to them about. And so just hearing their stories was a motivator for me. And going back to what I said earlier, imagine if this lady you've met, you've networked with, you have a potential internship with, your professor, these famous women who have built these massive businesses. Imagine if we never heard anything about them. We never learned their stories. We never found out who they were. I don't know. I wonder how motivated I would be if there was nobody out there that I could aspire to be like, or who could motivate me. Imagine if there was, Michelle Obama never shared anything, or think about anybody you admire. Imagine if they never shared anything, right? And so my next question is, do you have a story that can impact other people? And have you shared it, despite what you think other people may feel about it? So I'll start. And for me, it was sharing my saving story from way back when, of saving $100,000 coming out of college. And I remember I felt a lot of hesitancy to share that story. And now in retrospect, I don't know why I felt that way, but I did, because I was afraid of what people were going to think. And I didn't want to sound like I was bragging, but also I also didn't think it was a big deal, right? It's $100,000, but it's just $100,000, right? You cannot retire on $100,000. Your favorite athlete or singer is spending $100,000 on some bling bling. So it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal, right?
Right.
And I just didn't want to, I'm like, is anyone going to care? But then people might care and care too much. So anyway, I shared this story, and it was generally positive, but there was also backlash. So that video is still here on YouTube, and a lot of comments are positive, but there are also a lot of hideous comments like, you don't look like you're worth $100. Talk less of $100,000. You look so tired. You don't even look like you have any money. And I remember there was also, I talk about it in the book, a woman who decided to dedicate an Instagram page to me, about how there's no way ever I could possibly have saved this amount of money because I have a rich boyfriend, I have a rich husband, I have a this. She listed all these reasons why it was impossible.
Wow.
And that was very challenging for me. And I remember telling myself, I'm never going to share any other success, any milestone. I'm never going to share anything else I do ever again. And I had to change my mind because I saw the 99% of people who found value, who were like, wow, how did you do it? Wow, can you explain the steps? How long did it take you? People who were asking the valid questions because they genuinely wanted to learn and be able to make that same progress and achieve that same milestone for themselves. And so I had to really accept that. So I think we all have stories that may be small or big that sometimes we're hesitant to share with other people. So what's yours?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for me, one of the things that I don't really talk about with a lot of people anymore in my hometown realm is when I made the decision to move to Philadelphia, because I grew up in the suburbs of central Pennsylvania my whole life. And so there were community colleges there that I could have gone to, and a lot of people back home were kind of like, everyone tends to stay in their bubble there. They don't really venture outside of it. And so when I made the decision to go to Philadelphia, oh my goodness, the comments I got about like making jokes about it's Philadelphia, it's gross. It's like, why would you go to some place where...
Why would you leave this small town?
Right, why would you leave this town?
Go to the big city.
Everything's here, everybody knows everybody, everyone's in everyone's business. And I'm like,
You
no,
could be the mayor. You could be the mayor of your town.
maybe I
Why
could've.
would you want to be that?
Maybe I could have. I don't know. But at that point, I was like, no, that's the exact reason why I want to go. I need to get out of here. But I had a lot of people making comments about, like, that's not going to amount to anything. You're going to be put in danger. It's a dangerous place to go. It's expensive to be there. Like, why don't you just stay here and save money? And I don't really, there's a lot of people from back at home that I don't really talk to anymore. Besides like my family and like close family friends. But the majority of my close, tight-knit network has come from being in Philadelphia now. And so I think that for me, being able to share that story is important too, because I had a lot of people telling me everything that I should be doing because they thought that they had my back or that they had my best benefit in mind. But I've been better off being, going on my own journey. And so I think if I had the chance to kind of share with them the bits and pieces of how amazing it's been for me and how much I've grown, I think they'd understand, like, maybe we shouldn't have made those comments. But I think it's important to share that too.
Yeah,
so.
and there's probably a girl in your town who wants to move to Philadelphia and who wants to follow your career path that, will reach out to you and say, hey, Carli, or there's someone in Philadelphia who wants to know how you got there and has lessons to learn from your story that you probably met. So there is people always have everything to say, but I think it's important to just focus on the people that your story impacts and also people that will support you on your journey as you're developing your story, as you're developing your growth.
And I did see, going off of that, I saw a quote recently. I can't say it verbatim, but I know it was something along the lines of, what's the point of being the first if you're going to be the last?
Exactly.
So that concept of like, you can be the first and that's great and you should, but like there should be people looking at you being like, I want to follow.
Set the stage.
So
I love that.
You set the stage, you pass the torch. You can be the first and that's awesome, but if you're the last one,
what's the point? Yeah.
What's the point?
What about you, Yazmir?
Well, my story is like ongoing.
That's good too.
I love that.
Yes, and I hesitate sometimes to say this because of the criticism that I get often, especially from other Latinos and people in my community. But I'm in my 30s and I recently moved back in with my mom and my sister, and I did that because I want to save up to buy a home. But when I tell people that, they only hear the part that I'm in my 30s and I moved back with my mom and my sister, and they're like looking at me like, oh my gosh, you're such a loser. But like, they don't know my story and everything that's led up to right now. So there's some unfairness to that. But yeah, I just shared it with a lot of people that are gonna watch this. There might be criticism, but I know where I want to go.
And you're on a journey, right? So your goal is being able to purchase your home, and it's not like you're home freeloading. You're helping your mom
Yeah.
and your sister, minimizing their bills, you're contributing to your household, you're spending time with your family. And guess what? When you get to that point when you buy your house, which is your goal for this year, 2022, you're going to have another girl, you know, another guy, another person in your community who's like, wow, she's first generation in her family and she's purchased her own home, right? As a Latina, hey Yazmir, can you sit down with me and tell me how were you able to accomplish this? How did you save, right? So you may not realize it, but you are inspiring or going to inspire somebody despite what everybody else has to say. And I think I face this firsthand all the time, like, oh my God, all the time. I think now I have grown thick skin. So the last Real Women Talk Money video that we did, just yesterday, somebody left a comment and
Oh no.
he said,
Oh no.
you should all be fully clothed. And I'm like, excuse me, are we not?
What?
People always have, I guess he didn't like that shoulders and arms were shown. I don't know, I don't care. But people will always have stuff to say, even when it's nonsensical and it makes zero sense. A lot of times it's just for them to make themselves feel better. You know what? I've put her down and I feel better for the next 5 minutes. Then I'm going to go find somebody else to put down. But again, it's my husband always likes to say that all publicity is good publicity. Like, people are talking about you, that it's a good thing, whether it's good or bad, because they know about you. But in the context of just going through your journey of life and, you know, trying to accomplish your goals, it's like you said, establishing something for yourself, but not being the last person to do it, right? So people are always going to talk, and they can be miserable where they are. They can believe what they want to believe. But the people who you're going to inspire, like your mom is going to be so proud of you when you buy that home, right? She, you know, especially her seeing you as first generation, being able to do this on your own. There's no man funding your lifestyle, even though someone might assume it. Yeah, she had a rich boyfriend who gave her the money for the down payment. You know, it's less about the people who don't matter and more about the impact that you're going to have. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was just what holds us back from sharing our stories. Because I know I've talked to so many women, even in the Clever Girl Finance community, who have made big accomplishments, but they don't want to tell anybody because their family is going to judge them. Their friends are going to judge them. You know, there's women who have saved or paid off massive amounts of debt and they keep it to themselves because of what their family is going to say. Or they get to a point of success and they want to treat themselves to something, but they don't do it because of what people are going to say. But like I said, people are always going to judge us. And, you know, a lot of times we don't share our stories because we don't want to feel vulnerable. We don't want to feel exposed. We have that fear of what people are going to think. But the truth is that people are going to think this anyway. Even if you're just sitting down and minding your business. Oh my God, look at Carli. Doesn't she have anything better to do? She's just sitting there minding her business.
Literally.
Literally. You're not doing anything, but it's bothering somebody. So I think the sooner we all come to that acceptance that people are going to talk, but then the value you bring in terms of helping other people and also yourself is more important than, you know, just being judged. It's okay to be okay with being judged because people are always going to do it. And remembering the fact that the women or the people, not just women, who have inspired us, if we had never heard their stories, right, then where would we be? So just something for us all to think about. It's okay to be okay with being judged. People are going to judge you anyway. That's just the bottom line.
That's it.
So regardless of what anybody has to say about you or what you're doing or what you are working to accomplish, I encourage you to stand in your truth and share your story, share your journey, set the stage for someone else to succeed. And don't worry about the naysayers because they don't matter. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please hit the like button below, subscribe to this channel, tell all your best girlfriends about Clever Girl Finance. You can follow us on Instagram at Clever Girl Finance and stop by clevergirlfinance.com to check out our over 30 plus completely free courses. Finally, please pick up a copy of my new book, Choosing to Prosper, which comes out this summer 2022 and is available for pre-order right now from wherever you buy your books as an ebook, physical book, and audiobook. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.